In this video, I'll be talking about how you can actually structure your wiki to use it for a life management system or for note-taking or as a knowledge management system. So first of all, I just want to start with some general principles around organizing your life. It might not be comprehensive, but they might be, you want to understand your current state, your target state, you want to track your progress from your current to your target state, and you want to ensure that you are doing actions that will best get you from your current to your target state. So as an example, if your target state was to be healthy, maybe more specifically, you want to be stronger, and more specifically than that, you want to be able to lift your body weight when you do the bench press. Well, your current state would be what you can currently lift. Your target state would be your body weight, which is what you're trying to lift, and your progress would be, how much closer you've been getting towards being able to lift your body weight, and the actions that you're doing to get you from there might be, going to the gym certain times, lifting weights, it could be all different types of sports really. So could be dieting, you know what I mean? So I just sort of want you to understand what I mean by these what I've written, and that's just one example. Hopefully that makes sense. So those are some principles, like I said. If we go to our next slide. So this is how I would, if you're going to have a life management system in DokuWiki or any other system, here are some things that I think you should have within this system. The first of these things is a list of all the tasks, completed and uncompleted. And then within that, you can have a list of incompleted tasks specifically, and also a list of prioritized incomplete tasks. So they're the tasks you want to tick off first. So that makes sure that you're actually doing actions that are important or most important, and leaving the less important tasks for later on, right? Like if you had an assignment due tomorrow, you're probably going to put that first compared to the assignment due in 3 months' time, right? So that's something you can easily set up. Another thing I would do is I would keep track of all the different domains of life. So let's say health is a domain of life, and I would actually track your level of satisfaction within each of those domains, right? So are you very dissatisfied, very satisfied, or anywhere in between? I would also write down what you want to actually focus on. So like health could be a focus, career could be a focus, your education could be a focus, relationships could be a focus. So I would just, make sure you're clear about what you actually think is worth focusing on, and to stick to that, obviously. And then you have your goals. So sticking with the health example, you might want to be fitter, you might want to be slimmer, you might want to be, etc., right? Generally, you should have really specific goals though. Like I want to walk 5,000 steps per day, smart goals. And you also want to, with your goals, indicate what processes you want to follow, right? This is sort of tied in with your goals. Like if you want to walk 10,000 steps per day, then the process that you're following is walking, right? I mean, that's pretty obvious, but maybe there's a way in which you could walk, right, that would help you reach that goal faster. Like maybe you walk quicker, right? I don't know, it might be, or maybe you plan which routes you want to walk so that you, don't drive as much. It might be a silly example. If your goal was getting stronger, there's actually quite a lot of things that can go into that, right? So you can, the process might be working out, and more specifically, it could be weightlifting, right? And then, you want to indicate if you're actually following that, if you're sticking to that, are you regularly doing that? And then you can also, when I get to the next point, a knowledge management system, you can link to how you're actually doing that, right? Because, lots of people, they can go to the gym, with the intention of working out, and maybe they're lifting too light weights, maybe they're not eating enough, so they're not going to actually achieve their goal. So you need to actually factor both in. I'm trying to say the goal and the process, right? And I actually prefer to focus on processes more than goals a lot of the time. because the goal is sort of like the long-term thing, where the process is the day-by-day way of actually getting there. And yeah, you also want to schedule. This sort of helps you manage your time. Now, with schedules, the problem with them is, you want some flexibility. So I wouldn't say you have to follow it exactly, but, some things are scheduled, like dentist appointments and, university or school timetables. So you want to specifically allocate time for that. Or you can have like a rough schedule, like I'll go to the gym between these hours. So I think you should have some schedule, but I also think you should have some flexibility with that. And of course, this isn't maybe an exhaustive list, but I think at minimum, if you want to manage your life better, these are some things you should definitely think about having within a system. And you can easily integrate that system into DockerWiki or other, whatever tool works for you. But DockerWiki, it's definitely possible to, have to do toggles that you can tick on and tick off and set the priority of them. And you can link pages, and you can create like a table where you can put your schedule. So yeah, that's the life management system. Advice. My next advice is going to be about organizing your information. So here are some principles. Like I said, I'm sure there's more than this, but here's just some. You don't want a lot of repeated information. You don't want your system to be unnecessarily complicated. You don't want it to be hard to find what you're looking for, and you don't want to have information that you don't need to have. Okay, there's some principles. And here's my advice. Okay, so if you're organizing your notes, okay, I reckon, well, generally notes are tied with a particular, let's say, course at university or a particular, program that you're doing. So I would start with the course title, right? If the course is, Intro to Programming or Psychology 101, whatever it is, you start with that as the folder. And within that folder, you have maybe your notes, maybe tutorials, maybe workshops, maybe exams, essays, presentations, practicals, quizzes, labs, readings, tests, resources, and learning outcomes, right? Now, of course, some courses don't have all these things. Like maybe some courses have tests, but they don't have an exam. Maybe the courses with exams and tests don't have essays. So I just thought I'd make it clear that, you have a folder with the course, and then you could have pages in that folder for each of these things. And like I said, you can easily integrate all of this in DockerWiki or other solutions. And that will keep you your notes very well organized. Like, let's say throughout the year, you've been, recording every note, every lecture in your notes. Well, when it comes to exam time, you can review your notes, condense that down into like a file that you can read over in preparation for your exam, and then you're more likely to get a good grade. What's another good example? Well, with resources, you can keep track of, all the things you want to read for this course. And if you've read them, so that will keep you, make sure that you have the prerequisite knowledge. For essays, practicals, quizzes, these are generally just a way for you to, keep track of what you've already submitted, in case you ever feel a need to return to that. But yeah, and same as labs, like they're generally just a place to keep your submissions and workshops and tutorials. You won't necessarily refer to that much. It's just, like I said, a way to keep track of what you've submitted. And yeah, that's my advice for note taking, to have that structure or a similar structure to that, and that will get you through any course with, all the information you need within that course. So yeah, my next point is going to be a knowledge management system. So it's a bit broader than a note-taking system, because generally a note-taking system, it's quite niche. Like I said, maybe a university student, and you're only keeping notes in a particular course. Whereas a knowledge management system, this is like all of your knowledge in one place. So that's so much times, a lot broader, right? Now, I have a simple way of setting the knowledge management system out. And the way I structure it is based on, what are the questions you would ask of yourself or that other people would ask of you, right? So this way you don't keep redundant information, because if you or no one else had ever asked you something, well then why were you storing information on it, right? Okay, there's no point, okay? And questions, like I said, this is a very natural way of organizing it based on questions, because questions are how humans tend to get information. Like if I want to know something from you, I'm going to ask you a question. How did you, well, I'm just trying to think of a stupid example. Like I might ask you, what movies do you like? Or how did you make that meal you just cooked me, right? So, and then you would give, if you're interested in giving me that information, you would tell me. So I'm trying to say that I've structured this knowledge management system in a very natural way that humans are used to acquiring information, which is based on questions. So anyway, I'll get into it. The first question someone might ask you is, what do you know about so-and-so? What do you know about maths? What do you know about the Russian language? And maybe people won't ask you that explicitly, but if you're, taking a course from a teacher, in a way you're asking them that. You're saying, what do you know about this? What can you teach me, right? So some questions are a bit more implicit. But anyway, getting a bit distracted. So the first folder I would have within your knowledge management system, so that's, when I say folder, I mean you literally called the folder this, is know about. And within that folder, I would have other folders for each subject, right? So it might be maths, it might be Russian, it might be psychology, it might be, anything, really, computer science, law, whatever, biology, whatever subject, right? And then within that folder, I would have a notes page. If you don't have a lot of information on that subject, right? And then you can put all of your notes for that subject within that one page. If you start getting a really large amount of information, well then you're going to want to split that into topics within that folder. So for maths, for example, you might have a page, how to evaluate the limit. For Russian, you might have, what is the Russian alphabet, right? You could always extend that, what nouns there in the Russian language, what adverbs, etc., right? So I'm just saying that this is how I would structure it. And the other advantage, right, of this know about folder is that it actually aggregates lots of questions in one. How, what, it can all be within this, why is, I'm trying to think of a good example. Why is there common words between Russian and Ukrainian, right? Languages. So anyway, I'm trying to say that a lot of questions, how, what, why, can be aggregated under the subject so that there's not as many loose pages, right? They're all organized under this big category, okay? But then I'm going to get to my next slide. And I actually recommend having folders for all of this, because these are like your loose pages, right? Know how, know that, know what, know when, know who, know why, know will, know how much, know how often, know how to, know how something I am, know if, know what I've made, know where, know whether, right? Because people ask questions like that, right? They might say, when is the apocalypse going to happen, will it rain tomorrow? I might say, do you know that the moon is rotating around the earth, right? These are just examples off the top of my head, right? You can come up with much better ones than this, but all I'm trying to communicate is, you can have folders for all of this, and you can have pages answering whatever questions people might have for you or you have for yourself under these folders, right? So, maybe, just as some examples, maybe more serious examples, you could have, what movies do you like? So I would literally call the page under the folder, what movies I like, because that's something people would ask you, what movies do you like, right? Or, I would have, who are you? Like, literally, like, who are you? If you wanted to, because sometimes, whenever you create a profile on an online website, they'll ask, who are you? What's your name? What's your religion? All this sort of stuff. So maybe that's a question you'll have a page on, right? Maybe you'll have a page on how to set up your computer the way that you like it set up, or what software do you want installed, right? And maybe actually I would put that under know how, like how do you set up your computer, right? Like what programs do you have installed? And how to, maybe under that you would have how to put on muscle, right? Like there's a specific procedure associated with that. You need to have more calories, right? I mean, I hope you understand what I'm saying. But yeah, the advantage of this system is I can guarantee you it will work. It's how humans have been getting information and searching for information since eons, right? And it's possible to integrate such a system into DokuWiki. And like I said, these are some folders you could have, and you can put all your pages under that if that has been made clear already. If you have any questions, just let me know, but that's my advice.